Okay, so I know this is a very unusual video for me to make, but with all of the stuff going on with the demon list right now, I figured that I could try ranking all of the levels on the list. I'll be ranking the level based on gameplay, decoration, and uniqueness if you're wondering. But let's get straight on with the video and the rankings. So you might be wondering, what do I think is objectively the worst level in the entire top 75? I think you all guessed this. Abyss of Darkness is a really terrible level that honestly doesn't even deserve to be made. It also has pretty generic decoration and absolutely horrible gameplay, and it's also a really forgettable level. The only reason why Tunnel of Despair is higher up than Abyss of Darkness is just because it has a better song, but without that it's basically just the same as Abyss of Darkness. Arcturus is the definition of a generic hell level, with all of the checkbox being fully crossed out and the terrible gameplay making it even worse. You guys know Avernus. Sure, it's a little bit overhated, but it's still a really terrible level that also doesn't even deserve to be made. But I'm glad that Amethyst is a way better level than this. The thing that I hate the most about Succubin's Circle is just that it's nerfed. The spam isn't impossible, so I really don't know why it's nerfed, but I guess it's just so that the level could be released sooner. I know this is an extremely hot take, but I honestly do not like Cosmos at all. It just kind of feels like Succubin's Circles, but with different gameplay and purple decoration instead of red. I'm probably gonna lose a lot of people with this, but to be honest, Cosmos just isn't really that good. Just listening to this song basically sums up what I feel about Aerial Gleam. Definitely my least favorite Nine Circles Extreme Demon. I really wanted to like Mayhem, but in reality it just feels very meh, and a lot of people really hate the gameplay as well. Laser Blitz's version is objectively better. If it wasn't for the history of this level, this would definitely be the worst level on this list, if it even would be on the list for that. It does have some charm, which makes it be a little bit better than the previous levels, however. I know it just looks like I'm bashing Cherry Team, but does this look like good decoration? I probably should not say anything about the gameplay, however, but I still feel like it's kinda justified putting this that low. I have a soft spot for Slaughterhouse, but even though I think the decoration is pretty charming and also pretty cool, it has one of the most boring pre-drops ever and one of the worst drop transitions I've ever seen. Unknown is just a really average, edgy Extreme Demon with some pretty horrible gameplay, although these animated clubstep monsters do look pretty cool. I have the same problems with Bipata and Paka as I have with Unknown, however, this is easier, which makes it objectively better. Every time I look at Waterfall, I just don't really feel anything special about it, so it just feels like an average Cherry Team level, and I'm not the hugest fan of Cherry Team levels, as you've probably seen by the rankings I've given most of them. Now we're getting into levels that I somewhat like, with the first one being Firework. It's actually one of the few Cherry Team levels that I actually really like. However, the gameplay for this, especially in the pre-drop, is pretty bad, so I have to place it this low. Even though this level is known from having very terrible spam gameplay, the uniqueness of it is what keeps it this high on the list. It's also a pretty funny level. Nothing much to say here, goofy level with some goofy gameplay and decoration. Basically just Kyuki, but way worse. It was really annoying trying to get 3% on this. My god, is this level long. And I love that. It's such a legendary level, but it's also not the greatest, which is why it's this low on the list. I like Serja levels, but in reality they aren't really the greatest, so that's why I'm putting it this low. It's still a pretty cool level, and maybe I'll beat it one day. Tidal Wave, our current top 1 and one of the most unique ones. It's a breath of fresh air for most top 1s, and I really like that. Sure, the decoration is pretty flawed, but it's still a pretty good level and it seems to be pretty enjoyable to play. White Step is a really good halfway point for Damicio's creating journey, and it's also a very good level in general. However, it feels a little bit generic, and that's my only problem with it. I'm not that huge of a fan of the decoration of Midnight, but that's probably not because it's not my type of decoration, but it's a very unique level, so that's why it's placed at number 52. I really like Acheron. It's a solid top 1 and the song is very good. However, I think that Tartarus is better, and I feel like this level just kinda came out of the blue and doesn't really need to exist. Really cool level, however, I feel like the upcoming levels are just better than this. Okay, hear me out, this level isn't as bad as people think it is. It has some pretty good decoration, and I get why people don't like it, as it's definitely AP Team's first ever project. But still, I have a soft spot for this level as well, and the intro to the verification video is super badass. Codependence is one of the most unique levels on the demon list right now, and that's mostly because of the 2-player mechanics that are in the level. The main problem with it being 2-player is that a lot of people do not want to play the level in the slightest, however. While I'm not the hugest fan of 1.9 GDPS levels, there are a few that stick out to me as special, and Deadlier Clubstep is one of those levels. It's one of the rare times when over-decoration and core is actually done right, and it's what draws me into the level. Maybe I'll even do this as a hardest in the future. Tartarus is the definition of a legendary top 1, sitting on the top 1 spot for almost 2 years, and it's obviously a very well-known one as well. It's also a pretty unique and original level, so that's why it's at the 46th spot on the list. Tartarus and the Golden is like cookies and milk, so I pretty much had to put them next to each other. The reason why I think the Golden is better is because it's green and uses a better song. Shuketsu, but a bit worse. It's pretty much impossible for Psychwell to not make a banger, and it shows a lot with this level. It's kind of funny that this went from being top 5 to top 1 all the way back down to top 5, and I guess that puts it a few spots higher on the list. Even though they're not related at all, this feels very similar to Deadly Clubstep to me, but I think that's just because of the goofy nature of it. Syrinx works very well as a sequel to Serie Never Clear, and that's pretty good. I really wanted to put this higher, however the first jump really makes this less enjoyable. Eyes in the Water feels pretty overhyped, but it's still a pretty good level. I just feel like it's not as good as people think. I don't have that much to say about Coalescence, except it's a pretty good level with some pretty good effects and some pretty good decoration. Maybe it also has some pretty good gameplay. Even if you don't like the Cognition type gameplay, you'll most likely like Oblivion because it is a very good level. It works really well as a sequel to Cognition, and it seems like it also has some pretty fun gameplay. Also, it uses one of my favorite Creo songs. One of the levels that we didn't know we needed, but we absolutely did. The Lightning Rod is one of the most underappreciated levels on the demon list right now, which is a huge shame because the level is such a good level. It doesn't make the much amount of sense for me to put it this low, but again, the upcoming levels are just simply better than this in my eyes. A really trippy level with some really cool effects, and this Unsynced Duel is very interesting. Pretty good song though. Minus Drive feels like Deadlier Clubstep but better, and the decoration is also very slick. While this isn't a remake of an old Impossible level, it's meant to look like an old Impossible level, and it does that very well. I was originally gonna put this level all the way down at 50, and I have no idea why I thought of doing that. This is a really underappreciated level, but even though it's very good, the name of the level just pisses me off, dude. Viper UFO is a really charming and goofy level, which I really like. And with all of the stuff going on with Viper nowadays, it's fun to just look at a level which makes fun of him in a goofy way. Damascus is the greatest nostalgia trip I've ever seen. Being a massive mega collab that showcases revamped versions of all of your favorite levels from the past, it does that in an incredible way. One of the best themed levels in the top 75 and one of the most atmospheric levels in the entire game. Jigsaw really improves that you can make a good level based on a pretty interesting movie franchise. There are some stuff that could have been improved, however. Thank God this was nerfed from an impossible level. It's a really good level, and I'm very happy that people can actually play it instead of it just being an impossible level. Sure, Natural Disaster does get sleeped on a lot, but it's still a very good level, and I feel like people should talk about it more. One of the most legendary verification journeys in recent time. The Yongire is a massive improvement from the Yandere and is a really amazing level. However, due to it being a Dorami verification, the gameplay is not the greatest, according to people. What more do I have to say about Kinos that hasn't been said before? One of the most legendary levels ever, and funnily enough, according to a lot of people, this is actually considered harder than Zodiac, which means that Kinos was technically top 1 back in the days. Also, everybody knows the Nepesta reaction. Fragile, but a bit better. While it isn't an official installment in the Greek letter series, it feels like it a lot, which is very appropriate and also very good. But except for that, Delta is just a pretty good level. One of the best 9 Circles Extreme Demons, with amazing sync and also some super trippy and amazing designs. Sure, it is kinda unreadable and it's also gonna be pretty hard to learn. But if you're pretty comfortable with playing top 20s, I recommend going for the Hallucination. Despite being yet another redecorated and verified Hold Impossible level, this is actually a really solid level. Sure, it has some massive choke points near the end, but according to most of the victors, the level is still pretty fun. It does look a little bit dated, but it also has some very unique designs for the time. I haven't really seen a modern level like this before, and even though I'm not the hugest fan of modern levels, this is actually a really good one. And I think it can easily qualify as the hottest level on the entire demon list. I don't have that much to say about Judgment Knights, except it's a really solid glow level with some beautiful colors. I feel the same about Esfera as I feel with Judgment Knights, except Esfera is a little bit longer, which means that it has more stuff packed into it, which means that it's objectively better than Judgment Knights in my eyes. I was not expecting to like Kasetsu, but looking back at it, I really enjoy this level. From the decoration, the feeling of it, and just the atmosphere, it's overall a very great level and an amazing addition to the top 20. Atomic Cannon Mark III is a solid addition in the Atomic Cannon series, and while it's not my favorite in the series, it's absolutely the best one. And with all of the positivity that I have for Mark III, I'm really excited for what Prime is gonna bring. I have no idea why, but I just really like Destruction 19. It doesn't have that good decoration, but it just feels like it does. I wish there were more levels like these, as these feel more like the classic simple levels that Geometry Dash used to have. IMAX assures its dominance over the GD editor with Dissonance. It's an amazing level with some awesome effects, and I just really like this level. It would have been higher if it had a different song though. I'm glad that Menace is as popular as it is. It really deserves its popularity and has become one of my favorite levels to recently come out in the top 15. Nothing interesting, just another solid level that really deserves its reputation. Zodiac is my favorite top 1 ever. From the song, the intensity, the verification, the history, and just everything else about the level. It's an absolute masterpiece that I think will never be forgotten in this game. I would never expect that VIT-12 would ever make a level as hard as this, and still make it have the classic VIT-12 quality. Ordinary is one of my favorite VIT-12 levels, and just one of my favorite classic glow style levels ever. Terminal Rampancy has some of the best design I've ever seen in this game, which makes it be so high on this list. I originally was gonna place it way lower, but after coming to my senses, I think that this 100% deserves to be in the top 15 on my list. Keras is one of the most underrated remakes I've ever seen, despite how popular Erebus is. And that's a shame due to how amazing this level is. I used to not like Scream Machine because of the messy and inconsistent deco, but now I love the level for that. It fits a lot with the theme, and it's just a very solid level as well as a lot of other levels on this list. While Null Skips is pretty overrated and the CBF blocker is just ridiculous, it's still a really amazing level and there's not much else for me to say about it. Limbo is without a doubt the best memory level in this entire game. From all of the unique gimmicks, the amazing decoration, and also the amazing gameplay, it's just always gonna be a fantastic level. And while Limbo is regarded as the best memory level, I would say that Solar Flare is regarded as the best 9 Circles Extreme Demon. It's the perfect example of how to do a simple style look absolutely amazing, and the theming is so incredibly unique and I've never seen it before. Well, except in Solar Circles. Verdant Landscape has perfectly stood the test of time, looking amazing after many years of it being released. It also has some of the most fun gameplay in the entire demon list, which just makes it even better. For me, Kyuki is the best solo extreme demon in the entire game, with it looking just amazing, and it's so impressive to me that it's been made by a single person, and also verified by a single person. There's nothing that I can say about Nutra that hasn't already been said, and it's just one of the best levels ever in this game. It really shows how goated Jenkins is at creating. Spectre is a perfect sequel to Zodiac, and I'm really surprised it actually surpasses the level by a lot. It's such an amazing level, and I always love rewatching it. Deimos perfectly combines legendary song, amazing gameplay and decoration, beautiful atmosphere, an amazing crew of creators, and according to me, it's definitely the top 5 best levels in this entire game. But with Deimos being second place, what do I think is the best level in the entire top 75 on the demons list? Edge of Destiny, for me, is the best extreme demon in the entire top 75. The music is legendary, the decoration and gameplay is beautiful, and the story of this level is one that has never been replicated before. It works perfectly as a sequel to Blade of Justice, and ever since I first discovered it back in last year, I've been in love with the level ever since. It has kept me from quitting the game and has helped me evolve my creating style so much. And again, with all of these factors, I would say that Edge of Destiny is easily the best level in the entire top 75. And with that conclusion, the video is finally over. Very unusual to some of my other videos, but still it was very fun to make and just see what I thought about the demon list. I also want to give some additional info. First of all, you're freely allowed to react to this video and I would love to see your reactions to it. And second of all, I know there were a lot of very controversial takes here, but remember, this is all my opinion, and don't attack or harass anyone mentioned in this video. But yeah, that was the video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. A special thanks to all my members, that's Thinity, GhostZan, RSD621, El Padre, Kafo, Felmix9, Malachad, Cohen, BeyondFX, Sketchiest, Rolling 2400, Lime, Kirby Axolotl GMD, and Wowzy. And finally, goodbye.